Here we go. The UFC could not come to an agreement with Francis Ngannou. This has not happened since BJ Penn or
Unbelievable.
Fedor Emelianenko, but now we get Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. I don't know where to start with this. There's so much going on here. Ash, help me out here.
Man, I'm at a loss for words. So yesterday, even a week ago,
Yeah.
when Francis Ngannou had that picture of his mum wearing the PFL shirt, I
Yeah,
was like, it's probably just trying to play mind tricks and play negotiation games with the UFC. I genuinely thought that 100%.
absolutely.
But in my opinion, it's probably already a done deal. Like almost a done deal. He's probably in talks with PFL. They're probably paying him a little bit more. I heard talks that it wasn't actually the money, yeah, that Francis Ngannou. It wasn't because of the money.
Mm.
It was actually because of the fact that he wanted to do other things like fight Tyson Fury in boxing, which would pay tens of millions of dollars. And look, I don't blame him, man. At this stage, like, do you think he's got a chance against Tyson Fury? I'll be
Well,
honest, I don't.
no. But if someone said, go get beat up by Tyson Fury for $10 million, you and I would sign the contract, right? We're down for that kind of stuff. I've heard the same thing too, that they were offering him. So if it's more than the Fedor deal, they were offering Fedor $6 million flat per fight. That still pales in comparison to making almost $30 million to box Tyson Fury. But now we don't even know if that's still there. That was there last year when Tyson Fury was trying to negotiate with Anthony Joshua.
Yeah,
That might actually be off the table. Like, do you think that fight actually has any gas in the
100%.
engine? 100%.
100%. It's going to
Okay, go
happen
ahead.
this year, Tim. I'll tell you why. Because look, if Tyson Fury can fight Derek Chisora a third time, yeah,
Yeah,
someone who's already beaten up twice, and the
yeah,
third time he just did it, just for a bit more money.
yeah.
Why not fight like an MMA fighter who's never had a pro boxing fight? Like, why not, man? Why not do that? That'll do really good numbers. It'll probably do a lot more numbers than the Usyk fight that he's got going on. Just makes
Man,
sense, Tyson Fury.
but I want to see the Usyk fight. I'm greedy. I want to
I
see. I
know.
want to see him fight Usyk. Look, the thing is with Francis Ngannou is that he is very good at telling his story, and he is an incredible story, right? Like, at one side, you can have Tyson Fury telling his "I almost committed suicide" story. Francis Ngannou, like, I had to cross the desert. These stories transcend sports, and I think it would sell well. But people in the know, this is a bit silly. Tyson Fury plays with them.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. What are we talking about? Like, Deontay Wilder is probably a harder hitter than Francis Ngannou. I don't care. I don't care if you're an MMA fan. I don't care if you're a boxing fan. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, boxing fans will agree with that. But like, you got Deontay Wilder. If he can knock someone out unconscious, yeah, with one punch, yeah, with
I know.
boxing gloves, 12-ounce boxing gloves, so easily and probably a bit more brutally than Francis Ngannou has managed.
Yeah,
He's probably can hit harder than Francis Ngannou. He's a bit faster as well.
yeah.
And if you can weather that storm, he's gonna weather the Francis Ngannou storm as well. Surely, no?
I know. Oh, no doubt. I agree with you. No doubt. He's a better distance manager. Like, you and I
Yeah,
would get swept up in the hype, and we talk about it endlessly. But no, in reality, let's say no hype is on the table at that point. It's an easy fight for Tyson Fury. But I think this is what people kind of warned the UFC about with the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight, of like, that you are setting a
yeah.
precedent now, because Francis Ngannou probably sat down in negotiations and said, you gave this guy a boxing fight, take 30% of the whatever, right? Who cares? Why don't I get a boxing fight? And honestly, that is a fair question. That is
That
reasonable. But
is
like,
100%. Oh no, definitely. I mean, like, the UFC would say, look, but Connor is Connor. He's bringing in the numbers and
yeah,
this and that and the other.
absolutely.
And at the end of the day, Connor, he created that brand himself, yeah, which is fair enough. I'm not gonna say he didn't deserve a boxing fight, but
Yes.
with the UFC, this is the thing. Like, I kind of fail, yeah, to see why they wouldn't hype Francis Ngannou as much as they need to or they have to,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, it's like it's your heavyweight champion, man. Promote the motherfucker. Don't just be like, you know what, yeah, we'll wait till you get the numbers. Why don't you promote him to get the numbers?
Yeah.
Like, why not, man? Like, why not? You probably will get beaten up, yeah, in a boxing fight, but you probably will. But if the UFC takes a bit of a cut of it, like, it's awesome. It's great. It's great stuff for them.
That's right. I think the UFC, Zuffa took like half of Connor's win because
Yes.
they were a co-promoter, and like that's just kind of how we do boxing. That's just how it is. Francis Ngannou, you could do the same deal. I don't see why they couldn't do the same deal, but it is a dangerous thing. I think they want to stop the precedent of like, no, that Conor thing was a one-off. We're never doing this again. But like, you guys already did it. I do feel for Francis Ngannou, who's felt disrespected for a while now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Conor, he was one in a million. He was one in a trillion. And I like, no doubt, especially looking back over what happened during that period. I don't want to turn this into the Conor show. We did 2 hours on Conor already. Like we've done, you know what I mean? But like he was one in a trillion. Yeah.
I believed it, man. I'll be honest with you. I was
Me
one of
too.
those stupid idiots that like I woke I went we all went to a pub, yeah, to see Conor fight Floyd, yeah. And
Oh yeah.
honestly, half the crowd, yeah, were MMA fighters, MMA guys. There was even a few boxing guys that were like big Conor fans. They're like, I think he's gonna do it, man. I
Yeah.
think he's gonna actually beat Floyd.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god, like he just, looking back on it, Floyd just let him have the first 2 rounds, man. Let's be honest. He's
You know
toyed
what?
him.
Oh, he did. You know what?
Completely
Today,
toyed him.
I've seen Floyd fight the guys in Ryzen. He was getting hit. I actually think Conor has a chance today, but I don't want to like hype it up too much. But Floyd is
No,
Floyd.
man.
He got hit a bunch of times by some Ryzen MMA fighter, and I'm not talking about tension. I'm talking about the more
That's
recent one.
true. That's
The,
that's true. That's
the
true.
Asakura brother. He was getting hit, but he did knock him out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, Floyd
Floyd
is.
is also 46 or something like that now. So
But
it's
Connor's got a
few years ago.
chance. But
What do you think of Dana saying this? So he released this in the press conference, and he was like,
yeah,
yeah, like you could tell he was trying to be cordial, but not really, because he was like, yeah, like Francis Ngannou, we offered him the most money out of any UFC heavyweight, which probably isn't saying much because Brock Lesnar was paid the most, but he
yep,
probably got a lot of sponsorship deals and a big pay-per-view cut, so
yep,
and this is many years ago. So
yep.
it's not really saying much. But then he said that and he goes, yeah, Francis Ngannou, he feels like he wants to go and fight for more money with lesser opponents. So it's like he's still being a
I
dick.
Man, I think a lot of people are just like you're kind of alluding to of looking at other MMA promotions like the PFL, like Bellator. Some people have said that the One Championship launched an open weight Muay Thai Grand Prix as a way with $1 million on the line to try to get Francis. I've heard that. I think people are missing it. That
Open weight.
don't ask me. This is just like the MMA community is so good at speculation. It's amazing. But I don't think it's so that he can go fight in the PFL or Bellator. It's the boxing fight he wants. And I think if he does sign with Bellator or something like that, I think that's still not the priority. I think it's 100% boxing. And I can see him very much like the UFC has done, like just with BJ Penn. BJ Penn went and beat up Takanori Gomi, did a couple other things, and then came back. And I think Francis Ngannou would be very similar if he would take one boxing fight and then come back to the UFC. That's what I'm expecting. Am I wrong here?
I would love that, man. I hope so, because look, if he does that, but I honestly don't think he's ever coming back because it's like he had such a bitter taste from the UFC.
Yeah.
Plus, I'd love that.
Like how much could he have made? He's maybe got a dozen fights in the UFC so far, a couple championship wins. All of those fight purses combined would still not even be half of what he would make in one Fury fight.
No way. I mean, you also think of the opportunities after the boxing fight, yeah. Even if you lost or draw or won, it would be insane. You'd still get all these boxing deals. You could probably fight some 49-year-old like Luis Ortiz and knock him out. You could probably do that. But yeah, look, let's move on, yeah. Because
I know.
This is the big one. This is the big one, yeah. Like controversially, he's kind of our guy, even though he's a bit of an asshole and like he's done a lot of crazy shit in the past. But I'm so happy that Jon Jones is back, man. Honest to God. Like, what's your thoughts on this, Tim, man? Because I know we've been big Jon Jones fans for ages. It's hard to be a Jon Jones fan, but I'm glad he's back.
Man, Jon Jones, he's won the championship in 2011.
Yeah.
The UFC has only been around for 30 years. I would say fighter of the decade, no doubt, is Jon Jones.
Easy.
He is one of the best legacies in history. I mean, it's colored. It is colored in unfortunate events that have happened outside the cage more than anything. He's never lost inside the cage. 3 years away, 2 years away, whatever it's been, he's coming back to heavyweight against Ciryl Gane. It's just not the same without Jon Jones, is it?
It isn't, man. I mean, look, I mean, yeah, Connor's Connor, but at the end of the day, when you're just talking about pure talent, there's no one more talented than Jon Jones, man,
Yeah.
ever. I mean, like everyone goes on about Habib, yeah, being like the GOAT, yeah, but Habib didn't. He didn't win a championship at 23. He didn't
Yeah.
have 11 title defenses or 7 title defenses, yeah, by the time he was 27.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's just many things. I don't know what's going on in my video, by the way.
Don't worry about it. You look amazing. Don't worry.
Is it freezing right now? It's not freezing, is it?
It's a little in between, but I'll chat you in there because you said a good point. But yeah, I think people who say like Habib is the GOAT, or people who really doubt, um, people who say Habib is the GOAT, I think they just kind of indicate that they're a little bit newer to MMA, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you didn't see
Yeah.
Jon Jones fighting live in his prime, fighting all the former champions of that division, like there's the reason light heavyweight is cleaned out, and it's because of him. He got rid of all the competition at light heavyweight. Man, he's no doubt. The only thing that pales his GOAT, his greatest of all time discussion, is the stuff outside the cage. Inside the cage,
Yeah.
no doubt. You know what I mean?
I mean, look what he did. So everyone knows about this story. Look, he didn't even train for Gustafsson. He didn't even
Yeah.
train for. He was hitting a heavy. He even said, and like he had people to verify this. He goes, "Yeah, the guy was just hitting bags here, like hitting the heavy bag, and just kind of just working out in the gym,
Yeah.
not really training MMA." And then he went into a 5-round 4 against Gustafsson. I'm like, this guy is insane, man. Like, what the hell? Like,
But this
who
is
does
what
that?
this is what we're talking about. Dana White said it just he said it again. He said he's got to move. Las Vegas is not the lifestyle for him because he's making decisions like that before a
Yeah,
championship fight. He's not training and he's partying. This is
yeah.
this is what he's done his entire career. He even went on Joe Rogan and said, "Yeah, that's really typical for me. That's a normal thing." This guy outside the cage, he's such a mess. He is a mess.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think with BJ Penn, yeah, he classically said he needs fighting and he needs training, yeah, to keep his mind focused and take his mind away from
Yeah.
drugs, alcohol, sex, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same for Jon Jones. I mean, so DC said this, yeah, and I kind of agree. What are you going to be doing at 40 when the fighting career is done, man? Like, you're gonna be like, this is just a quote, DC. You're gonna be a piece of shit, and I don't necessarily disagree, man. I don't know what he's gonna do after 40, man.
Well,
Like, he
yeah.
needs fight.
He needs fighting, and BJ Penn was one of
Yeah.
those guys who needed fighting. And what did he do after 40? He got in fights in the street. He was fighting at the Lava Shack, and he was fighting this guy over here, and he was fighting that guy over there. He was fighting at strip clubs. Jon
Yeah.
Jones, he's gonna be like that. Although I don't know, I do want to say he has been clean for the last couple of years, but on the night that he got inducted into the Hall of Fame,
Oh, God. Oh my God.
this was 8 months ago or something like that. This wasn't even that long ago.
I know. And it's like you got all this stuff now, and now you got like the whole Dana White thing. Dana White is definitely gonna be like, yeah, no, you can fight, man. It's fine. You can do whatever. Jon Jones probably like beat some other woman up, and it'll be fine. Like
God,
2 weeks
God.
before. Because of Dana, by the way.
Man, this sport is so we can't focus on one subject, but this sport is brutal. Like from the Dana White to the Phil Baroni story of like this is
Oh my God, man.
this
Crazy.
sport. There's moments where I'm like, I wish I covered a normal sport like American football or something like that, where like it's just like a little bit easier. But this stuff has been rough. It's been a rough year. Like Victoria Lee story. It's just oh man. Anyway,
Yeah, I
anyway,
mean,
go on. What do you think? What are you thinking here?
so what do you think? Just to change gears a bit, what do you think? Yeah, his chances are against the killer like Ciryl Gane, man. What do you think?
Okay, I was thinking about it before we got on the air.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
Jon Jones was in his prime, he wins because Ciryl Gane was out wrestled by Francis Ngannou. Jon Jones can
Yes.
out wrestle him, even going up to heavyweight. Jon Jones hasn't been around for 3.5 years. He didn't look that good in his last few fights anyway. And if wrestling is also one of those skills where if you're not practicing it every day, it does kind of deteriorate. Anyway, but what do you think? What do you think? Like, it seems like it's a setup for Jon Jones to win. It's a good style matchup, but he's so old. Like, lay it on me. What do you think here?
I think this is gonna be basically a toss up because again, he's not fought in 3 years, man.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Having said that, we have Dominic Cruz here. He came off the couch here and beat TJ Dillashaw, which is insane.
Yeah.
He literally just came off the couch, beat TJ Dillashaw, got a split decision. He had an amazing run right before Cody Garbrandt beat him.
Yeah,
But so it can be done. I mean, like he's got the philosophy that there is no ring rust.
sure.
I don't necessarily agree with that statement because you've seen it time and time again where people leave the sport for a couple of years, come back, and then they just lose, or
Yeah.
they're not the same person again. Also, Jon Jones is moving up 60 pounds, man. He's 60 pounds heavier than he was before. So there's a lot of X factors. And if Ciryl Gane can avoid a takedown, I personally think that's his fight all day, man. I think he'll beat Jon Jones on the feet. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so too. Jon Jones' striking systems have benefited a lot at light heavyweight because he was so much longer and bigger than a lot of the guys he was
Yes.
fighting, like Rashad Evans
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Once he started fighting guys at light heavyweight his own size, he began to struggle. And Ciryl Gane will be the first time in Jon Jones' career where he's actually fighting someone who is bigger than him.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, we've also got to remember, look what happened with Thiago Silva when he fought him. Thiago Silva essentially chopped his legs down, took a lot of Jon Jones striking tools away from him. If
Yeah.
Ciryl Gane, who's a lot better leg kick, is going to be fighting Jon Jones, there's very much a possibility that he can take his legs away from him.
Or the Thiago Santos. We were just talking about Thiago
Right,
Silva.
Thiago Santos.
Yeah, we were
Thiago
just talking
Santos,
about
yeah.
Thiago Silva.
Thiago Santos, yeah. Thiago Santos. But it's like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't bet on this fight. Honestly, it's such a toss up of a fight. Honestly,
I think there's so many unknowns going in. What will Bones look like at heavyweight? Being years away, what would he look like? But even at light heavyweight, if he makes his comeback at light heavyweight, I think we would be a little bit doubtful based on how he looked previously, his time away, stuff like that. Like we would be on the fence, right? Like even at light heavyweight.
Definitely, 100%. If he comes down to light heavyweight, look who's there right now. Yeah, so yeah, you got Glover Teixeira. He was a champion. I get it. Like, people are going to be like, he smashed Glover Teixeira 10 years ago, and I fully get that. But then you've got Ankalaev, you got Jamahal Hill, you've got you've got other people as well. I'm trying to think now.
A few other guys, yeah.
Just a couple of people now. Yeah, you got even Yuri Prohaska. I think he can definitely give problems to Jon Jones, man, for sure. He sparred with him, a few months ago, so he probably knows a little bit about Jon Jones too. I do believe Anthony Smith has improved a lot since the last Jon Jones fight.
Yes, yeah.
So even him, he can probably give some problems to him as well. So there's a few people that can 100% give problems to Jon Jones.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Jon Jones at heavyweight. If there was anyone else that he was fine, if it was Stipe Miocic, if it was, I don't know, like
Tom Aspinall or Curtis Blades.
Tom Aspinall, all these other people, I'd be like, Jon Jones all day. But he's literally picking, even Francis Ngannou. I was telling this to my friends and they weren't agreeing with me. I think he smashes Francis Ngannou, personally.
In a rematch. Wait, who are you saying? No. Jon Jones was or Ciryl Gane?
Jon Jones was to come up, and it was actually, and Francis Ngannou was still the champion. If he didn't vacate his belt, I think stylistically he beats Francis Ngannou hands down all day.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Really?
That's a good question. But okay, let's say again, Jon in his prime, who moved up to heavyweight, he's using those oblique kicks. Oh yeah, I can see now that I'm kind of mapping it out in my head. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can actually see Jon winning that fight because Francis, his footwork was always a little bit questionable. He got away with a lot of things because of how strong and powerful he was. Yeah, I could see maybe Jon picking him apart on the feet in his prime. In his prime.
Yeah, in his prime. Look what he had to do. Look, he lost 2 rounds there against Gane because Gane was way too diverse. His head movement was too good. He was doing all the right things. And then Francis Ngannou is like, fuck this, man. I'm just taking this motherfucker down, man.
Yeah, I know. You know what? Now that you say, a prime Jon Jones probably does beat Francis Ngannou. He's got more, what's the word I'm looking for that we always use? Like diverse striking or like more reactive striking, a little bit better overall distance control. But the thing is, I think Ciryl Gane is a tougher matchup. This is why both you and I picked Ciryl Gane to beat Francis Ngannou. Like we both picked him very confidently.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's so talented.
Day, man. All day. Like I genuinely thought, I'm never gonna forget that line. Yeah, he goes, because Francis Ngannou is a D1 wrestler. We've never seen that before.
Look at us now. Look how stupid we are. Us
now. Like, oh shit, man, he is a D1 wrestler.
Yeah.
Man, all right, so Jon Jones, because we're biased, Jon Jones wins this, we're probably gonna be like Jon Jones, probably because I can't bet against him.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna pick Gane in this one. I'm picking Gane.
You're gonna pick Gane?
Yeah, I'll pick Gane in this one. I'll pick Gane.
Okay, look, what happens with Gane if he wins? who does he fight next in a title defense?
It's got to be either man. It's the UFC doesn't like him, but it has to be Curtis Blades, doesn't it? He's the top contender. He is the top contender. He's beating the people. He's on a win streak.
That's sad, man. That's sad because
the UFC doesn't like him.
Lost twice to Ngannou, man, and it's like it's not a good. It just looks bad if he wins the championship for the UFC. No offense to Curtis Blades, it's not the best look.
He's the only wrestler in that division. But yeah, Stipe is the only other guy who's kind of hanging out. But he was old last year.
Yeah,
I don't know. True. I don't know about him coming back. I can see the UFC promoting it because he's a former champion and he probably deserves it as he broke the record, right? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think it would. I think that definitely makes sense. Curtis Blades. I can't think of anyone else here that would fight him because there's not really that many top contenders right now. Have you?
We have to look it up. UFC rankings.
Yeah. Please do, because I can't honestly, for the life of me, I'm like, I can't think of anyone right now.
It had. I mean, we all wanted Tom Aspinall to be the guy. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean that's unfortunate. I think he can still be that guy. He just had a knee injury, in the middle of the fight.
Yeah. Sergey Pavlovich. This man is
okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Like he looked like a world beater in that last fight, man. Yeah. That was insane.
Tai Tuivasa is still there. He's not really it. Alexander Volkov, he's not really it. Rosenstruck's not really it. Derek Lewis is always kind of it. He's kind of around a lot.
Derek Lewis against Jon Jones doesn't
grab us. Yeah, it's pretty much
Jones, or even Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane absolutely smashed the hell out of him. So
it's got to be Stipe, right? Or Overeem. Yeah. Just sign Overeem again. Apparently he's out. He's doing weird stuff. Just sign him. We'll all pay for the fight.
Exactly. Jon Jones, if he wins, I think they'll make a Stipe Miocic fight, man. Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, former champion versus both legends of the sport. I think it's a great style, man, as well.
Yeah. So, I think it's even a better matched up fight. That's why the UFC wanted to make that fight originally. That's the one that we kept hearing about that they were trying to do and couldn't come to an agreement. But there was a reason that they wanted to do that fight. It sells really well of like two former champions, both maybe, got some dust on their shoulder and stuff like that, a little bit older than they were. It sells really well. It's a little bit tougher of Jon Jones of like, look, this guy was having trouble in the last few fights. He's been away for 3.5 years. Now he's going to fight an absolute ace. You know what I mean? It's a tough sell. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the T-Mobile Arena apparently put up the poster too early. Dana White was pissed off about that because the fight's not till March.
That was just to get the hype going, man.
Yeah, it worked too. All of us speculating online. Sure, we didn't get an official announcement. This was better. This was better for the promotion, right?
Definitely, man. I mean, look, the hype started early. People are like, is it happening? Is it not happening? Why not, man? And it's way better that happening than when they do an announcement. It's just so bland. It's like, thing is fine. France is vacated. I'm like, okay.
I love the poster leak, all that stuff. It's great promo. Anyway, so we're probably getting this. The thing is with the way the UFC does news is like tomorrow this might be irrelevant. They might just come out and be like, actually, we signed Francis Ngannou again, and we signed Tyson Fury. They're going to fight MMA. Like news is so weird that this might be irrelevant. So I'll try to get it uploaded same day, or else it might be old news.
It probably will be.
Yeah. All right, Ash. Anything else we need to cover off?
Oh no, man, that's it really. We've got like a very, very busy schedule. We've got guests coming in left, right, and center. Definitely check out the interview that Tim did recently with Stamp Fairtex. If you haven't seen it already, it's an awesome interview.
Hey, check out the Terrence McKinney interview. But man, you got some good ones coming out. I'm looking forward to seeing your interview.
Terrence McKinney, man, watch that, guys. Come on, what were you doing? If you're not subscribed to us, what the hell are you doing? Subscribe to us, please. We need the money.
Thanks for your time, folks. Talk to you later.
Have a great one.